I'm gonna try to go quick with this one because the battery is really low. But this would be really good to. It'd be really great if I can get this one to complete this series I did right here. So I was saying, like, a lot of times people tell you exactly half of the story, or they don't. Like, people sell you the product, but they don't give you the disclaimer to know what comes with that. So what I want to say is that when you're engaging people, like people that you're meeting or people that you know, but people that you're meeting, there's always a degree of danger in dealing with human beings whatsoever, period. Best friends, family, lovers, children, parents, community, probably a little bit less with your own parents and children, but not the least of which, anytime dealing with any people, there are dangers as part of dealing with people. But that doesn't mean that we don't deal with people or get to enjoy people, because what would life be without people or danger, or things that can be attended by danger? But what I meant to say is that sometimes you can get the best and the worst of interactions dealing with people, and you will get occasion, if you deal with people enough, you will occasionally get the best and the worst of reactions from the most attractive people and the least attractive people, and the best of and the worst of the best of and the worst of interactions with attractive people, and the best and the worst of interactions with people that would not be attractive to someone's taste. But what I meant to say is that doesn't mean that we stop trying, or so we have to keep improving, and to improve we have to try. But sometimes we can get the worst. And what I want to say is, one is that would actually show you that there are nuance to all things, not the least of which, like, people and interacting with people. But also that sometimes we make mistakes and shortcomings. So just like airplanes, as much as we enjoy airplanes, and I don't mean to be insensitive with this, but as many airplanes fly and most of them land, sometimes they don't. And when they don't land, you have quite a scene on your hands. And it's actually the same thing with even bantering and flirting and stuff like that. You do it publicly, you get comfortable speaking your mind. Another thing I forgot to mention in that video is that those things that I was getting better with, like that can get better with winning phone number, with meeting people and success, that make us more of ourselves. Another key one is saying what's on your mind, both in challenging, like they call it, there's a book called Crucial Conversations. That's how to effectively communicate in critical yet highly charged confrontations, whether personally or professionally, and so there can be high stakes at play, and those will emerge once in a while, and you have a real critical conversation on your hands, and there's no getting away from that. But a little bit of skill and forethought and sobriety and clarity going into that can help you sustain that successfully, and that's been the case for me. But that can also be publicly, like when you're getting to know people, or you're flying jokes, or you're being humorous, or you're engaging people whatsoever. Sometimes you can actually go from engaging a person to being in a crucial conversation. So reading the book Crucial Conversations would help you, but just being aware of that will also help you. But I had one person that said that oh, that's just timing when that happens like that, and that's true. But it also shows a little bit of status, because one person's timing is not another person's timing. Also, one person's appearance is not another person's appearance, and therefore one person's status and privilege is not another person's status and privilege whatsoever. Our titles or our social civil rights are on paper. What our actual status and privilege and what will be tolerated of us is different. Sometimes a heavyset person can be funnier on certain jokes, or a person of a more lean appearance, they might have a certain edge about them, like as far as being attractive. But the same thing doesn't fly with the same person, and just being aware of that. But we should always try, and then more things can fly with us that will fly for us if we try. But sometimes you have a situation on your hands, and I'm saying that they're not to be avoided. You obviously you can't afford to take a bad look as an appearance more than a handful of times when they come upon you. But if you weren't setting out to disrespect someone or to injure someone, then you can sustain that if you actually didn't have the tact, or you weren't clever enough to be smoother. But you actually need a lot of people watching this. You might have really rough experiences in your life that you can think of that are hard for you to. It's hard to get past some of these painful experiences. But those may have been the exact experiences that you needed then, and you still need those experiences as a reference to be a stronger, smoother, and more formidable, and also more effective person. You actually need some of those failures as a reference, both in your scholarship, your work, your social life, your professional life, your romantic life, your pedestrian life, like being a pedestrian and a patron of different places. All of that, you in your leadership within family and within community of people, your family and a community, older and younger, and your peers. There's difficulty with people who are older, younger, and our peers, and there's blessings with people that are older, younger, and our peers. But you need hope. Likely, if you're kind and you're healthy and you're approaching people in good faith, you'll have more so favorable outcomes. That can be mitigated maybe by your parents and some of your status and privilege that you're in, your entitlement, and how this society confirms that for you or does not is part of that. But you will have painful experiences and jokes that don't fly and situations that don't fly, but you need those too. So I just want to be aware of that, not to run from them, to embrace them as actually making you better. But what the difference is if you continue to practice being yourself. How come it's so difficult to be yourself? Because it takes practice. So continue to practice being yourself, even with when it goes over rough and you get a few odd tomatoes. What the difference is, what the haters and the supporters, which can even be as detrimental as the haters, and the haters can be as beneficial as the appreciators. What's more so significant is that you continue to practice being yourself. Now you have more seasoning, and you have more seasoning and a vintage after coming through the rough stuff, if you can continue to be yourself, and you're smoother because you know what flies and doesn't. Peace.